West Ham 2, Arsenal 2, and more points dropped by Arsenal in a title race that is going to possibly not go down to the wire if things are going to continue like it is, with Man City in that extremely strong form that they are currently in, and Arsenal dominating games and no killers. So once again, disappointing that Arsenal couldn't kill off the game. Directly after the second goal in both last week's game against Liverpool as well as this week against West Ham, it seemed like for the first 5 minutes after the second goal they were looking to kill the game, but then for some reason concentration levels dropped and we allowed the team back into the game. So once again, very disappointing. I nearly did a video directly after the game. I was so angry, but it just seems like that is going to be part of the end of the season's run for Arsenal. I don't want to give up yet. We are still leading the league, 4 points clear. Obviously City have a game in hand and they have to play us at the Etihad, so kind of still in our hands if we can get something at the Etihad, but it might not need to come down to the Etihad if we continue to throw away games. I'm confident we'll learn our lesson in the Southampton game, upcoming Southampton game, but then after that it's City, so we need our full team. And unfortunately it looks like Zinchenko had a little bit of an issue. Obviously they're saying that it's not going to be out for long. So Tierney came in, did okay. Once again, I was a bit disappointed with Thomas Partey not controlling the game as he has been doing for most of the season. And that's part of the problem. And then obviously Holding, it's looking like it's a game too many for him. And it doesn't sound like Saliba is going to be back anytime soon. There's rumours, just rumours at this moment in time, that he might be available for Southampton and then hopefully City after that. But a damaging result. I don't know from a mental standpoint how this young team can cope with the fact that they've now thrown away 2 consecutive leads. They're still undefeated since that loss against City. So I think it's 7 wins, 2 draws. But the way City are currently playing, they're dominating games. I've reviewed on my shows that there is a hope. The hope that I've got. So I'm not putting the hope on Arsenal. I'm putting the hope in City dropping games because of very difficult games and a lot of games. They're playing every third day or so. But now I'm starting to see that it's not helping Arsenal being away from football for 4 days or longer. So some teams, they tend to play well when they're constantly playing every 3 days. We have got that concern that our players are going to be tired. They can't play every 3 days or so. That's why we gave away the cup competitions. And we gave away the Europa League, if you can call it that, even though we played a strong team and were outplayed with that strong team because I feel the manager isn't experienced in Europe, but that's another story. But again, West Ham played a couple of days ago. I understand, same with Liverpool. They didn't play the exact same team on those 2 consecutive games where Arsenal had a rest. So that part I understand, but everybody was still involved. They were still focused on just the one game. At that time. So for example, in Liverpool's case, they were focused on Chelsea. They made lots of changes, and in West Ham's case, they played Ghent away from home and they got a draw even though Ghent dominated them. So Ghent, a team that's profligate in front of goal, and it seems like we are now too, were able to create loads of chances and should have scored more, and in Arsenal's case as well. But before I keep on rambling, now I'm getting more agitated as I speak. Yeah, I don't know. I really want to win this league. There wasn't one stage other than by some, I don't know what my reason was for on one of my shows, Off Your Game show. You can catch it on YouTube. I said that Arsenal will get 94 points. We'll win every game. We'll lose to City. We'll draw with Liverpool. I don't know why I thought that, because at the back of my head, this type of things can happen. A 2-0 lead. It's not even the last 4 or 5 games yet. It's 8-7 games to go, 8-9 games to go, and we're throwing away leads. That is what teams does that ends up messing up the league. Don't want to call it bottling yet. That's not the last couple of games. So last year, we remember when we lost to, was it Tottenham and Newcastle? How did the players look after the game? Dejected on the floor. Well, those players that cared, seated on the floor because they obviously were coming down to a period where they've been overworked in games, and you obviously have those players that's not of high quality in our team. That was last season. Just look at the pictures after the Tottenham game, after the Newcastle game, and there was a third one that I can't think of. I think it might have been Palace. could have been the Palace game where afterwards we were so dejected. And that's similar. We've won 7 games, drawn 2, but we're up against Man City. We're going for the league here. So again, the players look dejected, tired. And once again, it seems like Arsenal played a couple of days ago. We still controlled large periods of the game, but there was a middle part in the second half where we could have even conceded a third goal. I think Antonio hit the post. Fantastic start once again from Arsenal. I don't even want to get to the start because I'm so angry about how we threw away another 2-goal lead. At 20 minutes, I'm sitting here. I've watched the game on my laptop due to bloody load shedding again. So I had to download the game and watch it again afterwards. You have to keep your phone off because of people spoiling results. Luckily, no one spoiled today. But anyway, due to this nonsense load shedding, I had to watch the game, and you're stressing there because obviously in the back of your head, the game's done. And what a fantastic start. 2-0. Gabriel Jesus goal. Fantastic goal from Odegaard. Odegaard was man of the match as well. So dominating the game, not putting away your chances. So you can maybe say that we had a lot of ball in dangerous positions, but we didn't have that final pass again, which happens so often. When we do lead 2-0, we're just not killers. That's the main thing here. We are not killers. And maybe we need to look at it it's part of the process. I don't really want to go there now because everybody in that Arsenal football club changing room, they're not worried about any processes. They want to win that league. However, they are the ones that's on the field that is doing flicks and things. They 2-0 up after 20 odd minutes and doing flicks and things. Where last week they did the same thing and ended up conceding a goal in the first half, another penalty this time around. Last week they missed, and this week we are missing the penalties. I don't even want to get onto Saka because he's been brilliant. He's our star boy, very likely going to be the young player of the season. I don't know if we do somehow win this league, if he's going to end up getting player of the season or Odegaard or what's going to happen with that, but I'm not interested in individual awards. I'm interested in 3 points, and once again we've given up 3 points. So drew last week after dominating and winning, and then could have lost, and then the same this time around. And this time around we had a penalty, we missed. Everybody misses penalties. Salah missed 2. Haaland missed quite a few for Dortmund. I remember in some key games against Bayern Munich a couple of seasons ago. So there's lots of players that misses penalties. Ronaldo misses penalties. I'm sure there's quite a few top players that missed penalties this season. Bruno Fernandes missed a penalty at the Emirates last season. So I don't want to get on Saka's back. He's literally just missed the one for Arsenal and then the big one for England. And that was his first miss for Arsenal. So I don't want to get onto his back. Arsenal, take away the fact that it was a soft penalty. Once again, Arsenal being outsmarted by a forward of the opposition. So soft penalty, yes, but it gets given. And we were outsmarted again by the attacker. And then obviously there was other chances for West Ham as well. We also had chances. So we should have won this game. Final 20 minutes, it looked like that Arsenal that hasn't got ideas. So again, is that got to do with the tension of the title race, or is that got to do with why we are tired? There's little niggles coming into quite a few players. So who else has got a little bit of a niggle? I know at this stage of the season you don't really play at 100%. So now I want to ask, Arsenal's been really playing well this season. And how is it that Man City are able to keep their players fit now as well? So what are the reasons behind that? Obviously, we haven't got any more information than a couple of rumors on Twitter, which is very difficult to believe. And then Arteta that's messing around in the press conferences, not criticizing him, even though once again he's substitution. So now you're concerned about that as well, even though he was the backup guy for Man City and he knows exactly what Pep went through in those games, in those league title chases with Liverpool. It seems like he's not learning. So that's basically it. Arsenal not learning. Tricks and flicks FC from last week and this week as well, and could have lost the game. So that's probably a positive. I'm not taking it as a positive. I'm actually more angry now if you think about last week and this week. So 4 points dropped. Southampton on Friday. We have to absolutely batter them. So whatever pissed offness there is from Arsenal, that's not even a word. If they're angry, then they need to take this out on Southampton on Friday. Southampton are putrid in defence. They're not good on transition. They've got Maitland-Niles at fullback and Wally Walcott up front. So they might have some sort of point to prove on Friday night, but we have to win that game. City's not playing their league game. So opportunity to then go 7 clear with 2 games in hand, and then the next game is Man City. So it's not the end of the world if you get something at the Etihad. That is basically what it comes to. So before I get even more angry, let's take a breath, or let me take a breath, not you guys. And I'll try and analyze it a little bit more. I'm not a person that gets sour. I get extremely angry just for a draw. So Arsenal's come quite a long way. Yes, we are in a title charge, and it's not about accepting that we lost all those games. Was it 13 or 14 last season? And now we are on a 9-match unbeaten streak, 7 wins, 2 draws. But these 2 draws are huge because we're up against City for the title race. And they're scoring comfortably. They are finishing off games early, which means they get to make changes early. So if we were 3-0 up at halftime, which we should have been, then we could have made changes early and bring on those exciting players that can hopefully kill games off, which didn't happen now because the whole thing changed after the Thomas Partey mistake and then the cleverness of the attacker from West Ham. And that obviously got them the penalty, and they scored the penalty. So I'm actually interested to go and review, has Ramsdale actually saved the penalty for Arsenal? Bruno Fernandes missed the goal completely. Salah missed the goal completely. And then the rest of the goals has gone in. I must just check that Leeds United one at the beginning of the season. So, I don't want to criticize him. He's been brilliant as well. But I'll deep dive more into it. I'm going to probably have to watch the game again just to see, because, it's more anger coming through than analytical state of things. But we move on. The reality is we have to batter Southampton, and we have to get something at the Etihad, or we're not going to win this league. Come on, you Gunners.